recording and also share my screen first. Yeah, hi everyone to this Keptn Dev meeting. It's February 25th, and yeah, the team is working on getting 0.8 finalized and out the door. All right, yeah, today Jürgen can't join. This is why I will kick it off and give you an intro about the meeting. First, there are no discussions or questions from the other meeting or on GitHub. Yeah, so we will skip that one. The LFX mentorship program here, we got quite a lot of interest and also folks that want to participate in this program. Thanks a lot to all of them who submitted their interest and submitted a form or the submitted their application to be part of the program. The selection of the mentees has already been conducted, and I assume they will then get informed from the program manager, and we are happy and looking forward to work with them. All right, yeah, as I said, Keptn 0.8 is around the corner. As we are currently talking, I think the last pull request is getting built by our CI pipeline. And when this is done, we will create a release branch, the release candidate. And this one we will then finally test out, and then also want to release it by next week, the official one. Last week, I pulled together all the issues and the features that we implemented into the release notes. I will quickly open them to show you what you can expect from the 0.8 release, and it's quite impressive. The main key announcements, they are that with the new implementation of Shipyard, you now get the chance to really separate the sequences that you want to execute with Keptn. This can be a delivery sequence or remediation sequence. They are now separated, which is pretty handy and also makes it more explicit to you what's going to be executed. Then you can also add individual tasks to your sequence, meaning that when you want to add, for example, a migration task before you deploy, then you are now able to do so. And the shipyard controller, which is now the core and the heart of Keptn, will then take over the action of sending out the proper event, which will then be covered by an execution service. Then it's also possible that you can define the triggers that should execute a sequence. And with this capability, we are also now able to have parallel stages. Because when you have, for example, two production environments that should get their deployment from a hardening, these two production environments listen just when the hardening stage is finished, and then they get automatically the images or the artifacts from the hardening stage deployed to production. Then we also streamlined all the events, because we had some legacy code or naming in there, and now all the events, they follow the same naming scheme, which is also very useful or cool, because now you just have to know that task starts with sh.keptn.event. Then there comes the name of the task that gets triggered, and at the end there is then always an add-on, so to say, that tells you whether the task was triggered, started, whether the status changed, or it finished. And this is now the pattern that we have for all of our events, and yeah, that helps a lot. With the ability to implement this new eventing, we are also now capable of splitting the control plane, which is the Keptn in its core from the execution plane, where the execution services live that do, for example, the deployment, the testing, or execute a remediation action. And this execution plane can live on another cluster, which we now support the multi-cluster setup. And I want to point out the last key announcement, which is the sequence screen, uh, which is also very nice, as Erwin showed us last time. It allows you now to filter for sequences that are executed by Keptn, and it also splits a sequence into the stages, which is also very handy for getting a better overview what is actually executed where. All right, thanks, Robert. Quite a lot of um, kept users were asking for multi-cluster support, and yeah, we're looking forward to announce that and making it now available. I don't want to go through all the other issues. I think we plan to give an 0.8 quick run through by next week, and there we also can then take a couple of those features and want to show you them. But when you want, please scroll through these release notes. It's pretty impressive what have been implemented, and all the changes, also all the changes that are now coming up. All right. Then actually kudos to Christian, who did a really great job on providing guidance for migrating your Keptn contrib services to the new to support the new Keptn. I added here the link that leads you to the preview of this migration path. This means when you are responsible for, or when you're responsible for a Keptn contrib service, then please take a look at this preview, which, or where you can see what to change, what you have to adapt, and how you have which changes you have to implement to get it working with Autodate. All right, let me just look if we have. Okay, any questions so far? When not, want to hand over to Ermin. Ermin, do you have something to show us today?
Yeah, actually, I haven't planned to present anything since there haven't been any user-facing changes in the bridge. Just bug fixes and preparations for the release happened this week. So yeah, nothing to present from my side.
All right, yep. Then I will hand over to Christian, who pulled in a couple of issues to show us.
Yeah. Although same as with Ermin, the release preparations took most of the time. So what I'm presenting is a rather small changes. The first one is what you already mentioned, the migration path for Keptn services from Keptn 0.7 to Keptn 0.8. I'm just going to open the preview link. I think that's easier. There's quite a lot to go through, so we're not going to go through all of it here. Just the primary headers. So we are explaining a little bit what has changed in our cloud events, or at least what has changed for you as a developer, how these will be implemented in the workflow itself, by example of a Helm service, Jamita service, and an SLI provider. Then we go through several changes of Go utils. These are really code changes. So this is where the coding starts. The distributor itself has changed a little bit, but that's more of a manifest change in Kubernetes. And the rest is really just some smaller summaries. So the Go utils part is where you really want to take a look. This is what you will need to change when you migrate an old service. And there's also a YouTube video coming up soon that I have recorded today, where I migrated the Litmus service from our Keptn sandbox to Keptn 0.8. So I used my own guide to do that, and I hope others can do it as well. Okay, then the next one is actually an enhancement. We have our API gateway Nginx deployment, and I noticed, especially when upgrading or overriding the deployment, it has never restarted the API gateway Nginx, which is kind of bad if you think about our Nginx configuration, because it has like paths in it, mostly forwarded paths via a proxy. And so what happened to me is I upgraded from 0.7.3 to 0.8.0 alpha or something, and there was a path changed, and I wasn't able to access the path because the deployment didn't restart automatically. And the easiest fix actually was to add an annotation with a random alphanumeric string into the template, and that basically fixed it. So now whenever we reapply the Helm chart for API Gateway Nginx, the pod is restarted. I also double checked the resource requests while I was at modifying the manifest, and I saw that the memory requirements and the CPU requirements could be slightly tweaked based on what I measured for this pod. Any comments on that? Okay. Cool. The last one is something that I kind of already teasered. So I was doing some things with the Litmus service in Keptn Sandbox. That's a really cool service, by the way. So thanks for the original contribution. So I added 3 pull requests. 2 of them are already merged. So one of them was upgrading all the GitHub actions and other things based on what we have in our Keptn service template. So Litmus service should be up to date now. And this is actually something that I want to show. When you create examples or when you onboard services with Keptn, please follow our guidelines that we have in our docs and implement all the values, and not just in the values YAML, but also in the chart. In this case, the replica count was missing in the Helm chart or in the deployment for the example service in here, which led to a problem when you wanted to scale up the service. So yeah, and last but not least, here is the PR with all the changes for Keptn 0.8.0. It looks rather big with 27 files changed, but in reality, it's 2 code files, eventhandlers.go and main.go that really have changed, and the rest is markdown or manifest files and some example files that have been changed. But if you're interested in the code changes, then it's really just the main.go and the event handlers.go that have changed. And I do have a question to the original author of the service who didn't reply back to me yet, but I don't think he's in the meeting here. I'm just going to ask it anyway, because maybe any one of you has an opinion on it. So the Litmus service is running a Litmus chaos experiment in parallel to our Chemita tests or any other performance tests. And when Chemita finishes or any other external testing service finishes, this is handled in this test finish method or function, then we need to stop the tests or the chaos experiment in particular, which is done with, let me see if the code is here. Yeah, which is done with a kubectl delete of the Litmus experiment file name. So it's a very, very simple step, but it's something we need to do, else the experiment runs forever. But I'm not sure if that's the best way to actually do it. Because right now, what is happening is Chemita service finishes. By the way, this is a screenshot of the latest version of Keptn's Bridge, in case you're wondering. So Chemita service finishes, but Litmus service is still running. We run into this function here, handle test finished. We check that the service name is not equal Litmus service in this case. So we then kill the experiment, and then Litmus service itself, although fails, because it fails to retrieve data from the chaos engine. And I'm now really wondering if that's the best way to do it, like deleting the experiment and just saying goodbye, or if in that case we should, if we do that, if we should also just say, okay, it has gracefully finished and we're done.
This is what I would have expected. That at this point, when you kill the, the chaos, you as Litmus service, you take the decision that I'm now shutting down everything, but this is part of my job, and I'm finished in the sense that I have successfully executed my chaos. I would now send back test.finished with result pass, because
Okay.
the behavior was then as expected.
Yeah, I was thinking the same, but yeah, then I'll actually add this also as a comment here, and then Kartik can decide which way to go eventually. But yeah, the service itself is migrated, and I've tested it. It worked nicely. Okay, any more comments or questions regarding my changes? If not, I am done, and I'm handing back to you, Johannes.
All right. No more people who signed up in the agenda. Bernd, do you want to show us something today?
Unfortunately, I had no time to go over the tickets, but if you want, we can take a look ad hoc if something is worth to discuss. Otherwise, do you want to have a look?
Let's go. Let's have a look. Maybe pick one or the other. Maybe interesting for.
Yes, just one moment. So maybe I put it a little bit bigger. Is it okay like this or too small?
For me, it works.
Okay. Okay, let's see what I have here on the board. The first one, auto-generate JSON schema. I think that one was already presented last week. So actually, we can put it here. This one, Keptn update project. So that was a small bug, really, where when you wanted to update the Git repository upstream, then something has crashed. A small bug fix, not really worth the discussion. This one, extract the rollback task, is maybe something we could discuss. Let's open it, or if I have it here, yes. As you probably know, the rollback functionality previously was kind of baked into the is it the Helm service, I think. And now with this change, we wanted to make it more explicit so that we can even model the rollback sequence or task inside the shipyard file. So actually, now the Helm service will subscribe to an event and then do its rollback logic. We can take a look at the examples. I already opened it a couple of minutes ago here. Yes. How does this look like? We have your rollback, yes. Which is now, yeah, that's the thing. Now it's visible in the shipyard that the rollback can be done by introducing a sequence. Here it's called rollback, and this sequence is triggered when an event staging delivery finished is fired. Staging delivery finished is this one. So when the delivery sequence is finished, then this sequence will be triggered Here we have the selector on the result field, so the result must be fail, because only then we will do a rollback. And then we have the task in this sequence, which is called rollback. And this task is exactly the task where the Helm service is now subscribed to, and it will do its logic. So it's more explicit here in the shipyard file what actually happened. Before it was just in the logic of the shipyard of the Helm service itself. Now you can model it with a separate task here. That's maybe something worth mentioning. Any questions to this? So maybe not all people are familiar already with this kind of layout in the shipyard. It's a new shipyard layout. We will, I think, hear much more about it in the maybe next week when the release is out or something like that. But that's how it will work in the next upcoming release 0.8. What else do we have? Keptn supports default sequence for the delivery evaluation. I don't know what's that, but let's take a look. Oh yes, maybe also something which is worth mentioning, because there are two commands now which are marked as deprecated in the upcoming release. So they will still work, but they are deprecated and will replaced by these two here. So we had in the previous releases Keptn send event new artifact and Keptn send event start evaluation. These two are still working, of course, but you will get the message like this command is deprecated. Please use one of these two in especially for send event new artifact. The new command will look like this: Keptn trigger delivery. It has pretty much the same flags. One difference though, the minus sequence flag is now optional and will get the default value. So if you leave it out, the default value will be delivery, and you can override it by providing the flag. The Keptn send event start evaluation command is then replaced with Keptn trigger evaluation. And I think that's all. All the flags of this command are the same, so no functional change here. Just the command is now called differently. And as I already mentioned, both variants still work, but in a upcoming release, I don't know, 0.9 or whatever, we will then definitely only have these two flavors and not anymore these two. But 0.8 supports both. If there's no question, we can take a look at the remaining tickets. How does Helm service behave on faulty user managed Helm chart?
So it's just a verification task.
Is this worth mentioning? I don't think so. That was just verifying that we are doing the right things when the Helm upgrade does not work. And it turned out that everything is okay. And for those who are interested, the Helm library we are using returns an error in case the deployment, whatever it is not marked as ready. So it really covers every possibility, including the image pull error when you are putting there an image with, which does not exist or something like that. It will just, after a period of time, fail, and I've checked that we are handling this error correctly, and that's the case, and nothing to do here really. Change triggers to triggered on shipyard. Okay, that's the wrong title because we've said that we will use now not triggers, but triggered on, not on here, as the keyword for triggering sequences. That was changed in the documentation. And this one, I don't know. I think that was also part of the task where we excluded the rollback sequence or task because there we needed the functionality that we can put the condition on the activation of a sequence, which is done via a selector. So you can say, please only activate this sequence here whenever the result field matches the string failed. I think that description is a little bit not is not up to date. On must be on triggered on here, and I think failed is just not is not failed, but just fail. But anyway, that was the deal of this ticket. The selector implementation in the shipyard controller. Okay, that was already the last one. I think nothing to add from my side, if there's no question.
Perfect. Thanks for showing us the issues.
You're welcome.
Thanks a lot.
So,
All right. Are there questions from the participants? Maybe other comment, thoughts, or ideas you want to share? Then please feel free to do so now. Okay. In the meanwhile, I was taking a look at our CI build job, and he now finished the last build for the 0.8 release we triggered on master, and I think we are now ready to create the release branch, the release candidate now, and that's pretty exciting to get this now done and to be very close to also get the 0.8 release finished and shipped.
Let's try it live.
Let's try it live. Let's go. Christian, you have to lead me because you did.
If you click on actions,
the action button.
And on the left side, there is the create release branch.
All right.
And then run workflow on the right side. And then it will ask you for the version. So 0.0-RC1, I guess, or just RC. I don't think we will need more than one, I hope.
I hope so. But let's still use or let's add a one at the end. And we are building it from the master. Then I now click run workflow.
Yeah, and that should hopefully just create a new branch, and there we go, it's running. Create a new branch, and that will trigger the CI, and once the CI is done, we then need to manually trigger integration tests. I think it takes a bit.
So it takes a bit. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now it starts working. All right. Yeah. This is now done automatically. Let's hope and fingers crossed to get everything built correctly.
I think it's done. It looks like it's done. So if you refresh, you should see the branch, and I think it should also create a PR from that branch back to master.
The branch is there.
Christian, can we have such a button for the contrib services too?
The PR is there, really cool. And
there's no draft release yet because we need to run the integration tests for that. So but I agree, Bernd. We will need something like that for our Keptn contrib services too, because not just that button, just the whole workflow with integration tests and publishing a draft release.
Christian, do you have to trigger the tests now manually?
Let's check. Let's go to actions and select CI. And then let's see if CI is running. Doesn't look like it started the CI. Okay, I need to look into that because in my opinion, it should start the continuous integration here. And then once that's done, we need to trigger the integration tests manually. I'll look into that.
Okay, thanks. All right, yeah, this was now a live demo of releasing a Keptn. All right, cool. Still, did some questions come up from the community or from the participants? Okay, if not, then yeah, I will give you back 30 minutes. Thanks for joining in this week in this Keptn Dev meeting. Stay tuned. Also take a look at the Slack channel, and yeah, next week we are going to announce the official release of Autodate. Looking forward to it. All right, then see you. Bye.
Bye bye.
Cool. See you. Bye.
Bye-bye.